Alright, so what's going on, you guys? It's your boy 3 Stiggity Stacks in this thing, baby, representing TKOG. And today I'm going to be showcasing you guys my take on TRI-BRIGADEs with the new format pretty much being in effect. I mean, we've only got a few more days, so you might as well just start getting ready. So the variant that I chose was actually the MELFY variant, but it's not like what most people would run, and it's not what you're used to. I'm not playing Obedience Gold, and I'm not playing a whole bunch of like MELFY cards and just random level 2 beasts that benefit the deck even more. What I'm essentially doing is I'm taking what I feel is the best that the MELFY has to offer and just using that to raise my ceiling, to give me better inboards, more disruptions that my opponent has to play through, and give my recovery and follow-up pretty much steroids. And I'll talk a little bit about what makes it so amazing in this deck. And plus, one thing that I've always disliked with this deck's inboards is it always has lacked an Omni Negate, which is why some people even play the Synchro variant with Halkby Fibrax to end on Omni Negates, because the Omni Negates just give you a higher ceiling and it's a lot harder, and you lose less to talents, because this deck can struggle with triple tactics talents and other staples like that. So if you guys haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to my channel. Leave a like if you like the video, leave a dislike if you don't. If you are subscribed, make sure you click the notification bell, and if you want to support my channel in any way, shape, or form, consider backing me on Patreon, becoming a member of my Discord, or even if you just wanted to donate, I would greatly appreciate any and all. So with that said, let's get into the list. So I mean, a little bit about TRI-BRIGADEs. I find that the deck, its sheer simplicity and it being just always having to be played in such a linear fashion is what's made it not really appealing to me. I've never been like an avid fan of this deck. Like, I've never been like a, ooh, that deck looks fun, I want to play that. So I don't really have a lot of fun with this deck henceforth, which is why it's not one of my go-to choices. But it doesn't really take away from the deck how strong it is. It has a really good track record. It's well received by a large audience, and for the most part, its sheer simplicity and just how strong it is, and the ability to play so many tech cards and hand traps, and its diversity in the terms of integrating it with different archetypes and splashing certain cards that are pseudo generic due to them being one of the 3 types this deck synergizes naturally with. I'm not gonna lie, TRI-BRIGADE is pretty nice, right? The deck is pretty fire. So we're gonna go ahead and get into some starters. So I'm rocking 3 Prosperity. I'm playing this over Desires for the simple fact that I'm playing literally 4 one-ofs that I do not desire to banish whatsoever. And if I wasn't playing those, you would easily be able to play Desires. And Desires is like a +1, it lets you draw 2. Whereas Prosperity more or less guarantees that you see something that you really need. So I do value Prosperity more because it is better as a going second card as well. So inherently, not only is it a starter, but it's also a going second card. Prosperity is just an insane card, you guys. It's really powerful. Very, very, very strong. It's the closest thing to adding any card from your deck to your hand that every single deck can play without having to worry about some crazy drawbacks. So, continuing on, we are on Rescue Cat. Rescue Cat is much more powerful of a normal summon in terms of starting your engine up than Zodiacs are. Sure, Zodiacs, you have like Rapier, and you can dump a name and like make a Pharyngit, and if you already open to try, you can keep playing. But Rescue Cat starts your engine by herself, and even though some people feel like she's more fragile to hand traps, look at my list. Just look. It's not really as like fragile as you think, and I do play quite a few cards that help me to push past Rescue Cat getting hand trapped. But it's really crazy. There's actually a really cool resource loop that you could set up with this. I'll talk about it a little bit later in the profile, but moving past, we're playing 3 of every name, including Karaz. Karaz is a mandatory 3 of, in my opinion. It's the only extender that the TRI-BRIGADE cards have themselves that doesn't restrict you into only summoning Queen Beast, Beast Warriors, and Beast types. So being that it's the only extender that the deck has, I feel it's warranted to play 3 so that you can open it more and not be more reliant on searching it. This is also the only thing that really lets you naturally push through a Veiler or an Imperm or a Cyframe Gear Gamma on your normal summon. I do play another card which helps, but still we're on 1 Tinky because it's at 1 Foolish, and then now we're going to talk a little bit about a card that does help to push past your normal summon being hand trapped. So one for one is very, very good. It can be somewhat of a starter and an extender at the same time. It can only really truly be a starter if you were playing Link Kuribo, which I don't think is worth for just the one for one. But so what it does is, like, if your rescue cat gets impermed, you can one for one out for a Nerval, and you can go ahead and take that Nerval and that rescue cat, link them both into a Pharyngit, and then use Nerval to search and use Pharyngit to special summon what you search, and that essentially makes this hand trap very makes this very sought after for playing through hand traps like Ash and Valor, and Imperm, stuff like that. It's just really, really strong. Another cool interaction that can come up with the one for one is if you actually did resolve Fractal and you did normal summon and you banished 2 for cost and that got hand trapped, you can just one for one out your Nerval. Even if you use his effect to search, you can just one for one out your Nerval, use his effect, banish a couple, summon what you need, and then take him and the TRI-BRIGADE that you have on the field, and you can link those into whatever you want. You can go into Double Dragon Lord, you can make an op. You're always gonna pretty much prioritize making the Bear Bloom. More often than not, you want to hard summon it, which is better for you. But I will say one for one is very good. You should definitely test it. Never knock stuff before you try it. You can't really judge something poorly when you've never even tested it. One for one's pretty good. So Foolish and one for one, great additions. They somewhat make up for the lack of the 2 Tinkies, just not in the same way, but it's better than nothing. And then I'm playing 1 Caddy and only 1 Puppy. I'm playing 1 Kalantosa and 1 copy of Hop Your Squadron. So this allows me to further disrupt my opponent. It gives me an additional pop and an Omni Negate on top of my standard board that I can make. And also on your follow-up plays, what you can do with this engine right here, like, it makes Rescue Cat pretty insane too. So like, even though these come out when their effects are negated, you can make the Joyous and use its effect, return it to the extra deck, and then bring those back with their effects online. Just really good. Something else that's really cool is when these guys are already in your grave and you're making recovery plays, what you can do is go into any TRI-BRIGADE, banish 4, summon out your Big Bird, banish, use your Big Bird and that TRI-BRIGADE, link those off into a Pharyngit, and go ahead and use the Big Bird's effect, search a copy of Rescue Cat, normal Rescue Cat, and then you can use Rescue Cat to bring out a Karaz and a Kit if these were already gone. Then you overlay into your Joyous, you use Joyous's effect to bring back Kit and Karaz with their actual effects this time. So now you get to resolve both their effects, and that's just game. So yeah, it's really, really incredible what these offer for such a small investment of simply just 4 cards in your main deck and just 2 cards in your extra deck. You get a much higher ceiling and a lot more capabilities in the diversity of your disruptions, which is very valuable. Arclight is a very strong card. It's very, very powerful in its own, and being able to make that consistently at that, it just makes this deck really, really strong. So yeah, definitely worth playing. They're not bad to draw because they are naturally disruptions by themselves. Caddy also, it is notable that Caddy searches any beast, so you can even use Caddy if you already had something that you could use on your opponent's turn. You can add Rescue Cat, you can add Karis, you can add Kit. So there's a lot of like synergy here. It's just very small. I didn't want to go crazy. I don't like Obedient School because I personally do like Appaloosa. I personally do like Double Dragon Lords. You know, I don't really like being locked out like that. I mean, if I was more focused on Naturia Beast and the Melfi's XYZ that can search their trap and be like another disruption, that's a route you can take. But I just like this list as is, because Obedient School, as powerful as it is, would take up a slot of a defensive card, and I don't really want to sacrifice, because I feel like TRI-BRIGADE needs a lot more defensive and going second cards than most decks, because this deck really ain't that fire going second. It's like, you're not going to beat 2 negates, you just never are. Its engine itself, like, if we were to compare it to like Dragon Link or Virtual World or even Drytron, those decks, they're just their pure engine with no hand traps, no generic staples, just the cards with the archetype's name on it can break boards naturally by themselves. TRI-BRIGADE, unfortunately, they cannot really do anything. If their normal summon gets disrupted and they cannot resolve Karaz, there's never really anything that they can do at all. So that's why you really need to play a lot more of these cards. So Prosperity is essentially a going second card as well. Remaining 3 crossouts to beat hand traps. I am playing 1 Valor just as an additional crossout target in case somebody decides to Valor me instead of Imper me. I also was on the fence of playing Talents, but I felt like you can play talents too and kind of cut another hand trap, but then I wouldn't have enough hand traps, if that made sense. Because this deck really does need them. Like this, you either need hand traps or you're gonna want to main stuff like Dark Ruler no more. But this deck's inboard sometimes isn't really all that, so you need extra disruptions that you can just draw naturally, and they become interruptions on top of your board. So when you're drawing stuff like Cross Out, Call by, Droplets, Imperm, Ash, you know, Veiler, those are extra interruptions that your opponent has to play through on top of your normal board, which your normal board ain't all that. If you get to like full combo and nothing happens, you can typically in on op, double Dragon Lords and a Revolt, and that's cool. It's not like it's horrible. It's not the worst board, but it's not the best board. But you normally, I still feel like you need more than just that. Even if everything's timed correctly and used at the best opportunity that you can use it at, it's still not going to beat every deck. So that's why I feel like this deck really needs a lot more defensive cards than others, and rightfully so. The deck is naturally able to combo with 1 to 2 cards, so you're able to fit in a lot more into the main deck as far as tech cards than most decks. So Cross Out, you can hit Gamma, you can hit Ash, you can hit Imperm, you can hit Veiler, you can hit Droplets. You can just hit so many cards. It's really good to main deck. You can even hit Prosperity, heck. And then we have Called By, 3 Droplets. Droplet is better than any hand trap in this deck. And it has great synergy because some cards actually don't mind being sent to the grave. We have 3 Ash, 3 Gamma. Gamma is going to protect your Rescue Cat and your Fractal when you're dumping, because people will actually Ash Fractal, which is correct. If you Ash Fractal, they literally have to have a Foolish or like a Karas plus a Kit now to even get at least 2 names in the grave to even be able to play Yu-Gi-Oh! In the first place. So Ash on Fractal is actually correct. Even though it plays in the Gamma, it's the correct play, and Gamma protects that. So Gamma protects your 2 best starters, your Rescue Cat and your Fractal. So this is why I feel like this is better than Talents, just in the sense that it lets those plays resolve. Like, if these get hand trapped and I Talent, sure, I could like draw 2 and pray to God that I draw a Karas, which is the only card that would really save me. But it's not gonna let me keep playing. It'll just like make it better if I can already play. But if I can't already play, Talents isn't really gonna do much. Whereas Gamma forces it to resolve, and I can still make an Omega for my troubles. Imperm is Imperm, and Veiler is more or less a cross-out target, but it's not bad to draw. And I'm just on double Revolt. I don't feel like you need 3, especially with not playing Desires. But yeah, that is the main deck. It's very well-rounded, very diverse, very good at what it does. Is it the best deck? No, it's not the best deck. It's one of the best decks because its track record has been so good for a while now. But it's good enough, trust me. The extra deck, I'm playing just 2 Pharanjit, 1 Broom. I play 3 copies of Big Bird. I think this is the best card in the deck. Bar none, this card is insane. We have 1 copy of Silver Sheller. Some hands actually require this. When you get hand trapped a bit, you sometimes just end on this in Revolt, and that's still really good because of how much follow-up you get. You can easily kill your opponent next turn. We have Almarash. Some hands literally require you to make that. Something else that could come up that I have thought about in testing is... Where's Reborn? Reborn. So, hear me out, you guys. This is why I'm probably going to start playing Reborn. So I'm just gonna probably like cut 1 card and throw in Reborn. So here's why. So like, if I resolve Fractal, I send some names, I normal summon, I banish 2, I get Impermed. I can Reborn a name, the only name that's left in the grave, summon that, and then I can at least make a Pharanjit, and if I have an extra name, I could special that. So that's like worst case scenario. Best case scenario, Rescue Cat gets Impermed, Rescue Cat gets Veilered, right? So if it gets Impermed or Veilered, you link the Rescue Cat off in the Almirage, you Reborn the Rescue Cat from the grave, and then attempt its effect, even if they Impermed or Veilered the first time. So those are like a couple good reasons why Reborn could be very, very good in this deck. I honestly don't think it would ever be bad, unless your hand sucked. And then we have double Dragon Lords, we have Razevelg, we have Appaloosa, Access Code, Arc Light, which is the only Omni Negate the deck has. And then we have Omega and Joyous. This card is insane. You're going to use this card over and over and over. It's way too good. It's just going to continue to keep pressure on your opponent. Bringing back Karaz and Kit to go for game, or bringing back Caddy and Puppy. If you haven't already got these bad boys off the deck. If you have, then you're just going to bring back Kalantosa and something else. You can just go Kalantosa to pop, bring out a Karaz, use Karaz to get something else out, like a Big Bird, get a Banish. You can do some really juicy plays with the Joyous here. Joyous is very good. Minimum, it's 2 disruptions by itself. Because even if you had like already like a hand with Karaz that could play, you could just go Rescue Cat into Caddy and Puppy, get valid targets in your grave off of stuff like Fractal and Karaz, and then at the end of your combo, you can just overlay these 2 into Joyous, and you can just go Joyous to summon these back as long as you have valid targets in the first place, and then you end on these 2 plus your normal Tri-Brigade board, and then that gives you a pop and an Omni Negate. You use the Omni Negate first and hold the pop after you've already made the Omni Negate. It makes your board a lot harder to crack, I'll say that much. And that is my Melfi Tri-Brigade deck profile. You guys let me know what you think in the comment section below. I would always love to hear your thoughts and your feedback on what I can do better. And always just be open-minded whenever you watch someone else's profiles. Don't get butthurt just because it's not what you would play. Have a little bit more thick skin and understand everybody plays decks to their preference. And at the end of the day, it kind of is just their cardboard is their cardboard, you know? We all have a free will to make the decisions that we want, and no one can really judge us and to the furthest extent to where like they're telling us what we should and what we cannot do. But other than that, peace out, you guys.